If you just did the exercise of facing your death, you know something now that you didn't an hour ago. If you didn't, that's fine. You're about to find out anyway. You have clarity now, or the beginning of it. But clarity by itself doesn't change anything. You can know exactly what matters and still spend tomorrow exactly the way you spent today. That's not a failure of insight, it's a failure of space. There's no room in the life that you just became aware of because something else is already living there. So before the work can truly begin, a harder question. Where does your time and energy and effort actually go? Not the answers you'd give in an interview, the real one. Most of what fills your days isn't the part that matters. It's what you have accumulated, almost by default. Getting rid of the clutter rarely happens because it means admitting how much has to go. Look at what you own. The things gathering dust that still cost you money, space, attention, guilt every time you walk past them. You didn't choose half of it, you were sold it. Really look hard at how you spend your hours. How much time is spent earning what you don't need, to buy things you don't use, to impress people you don't even care about? Any time spent on that is too much. Look at the obligations you never agreed to. You just never said no early enough, and now saying no feels like a betrayal instead of a choice. The poet Khalil Gibran had a great insight about this. He said, "Comfort and convenience come into the house as servants and stay on as masters." Here's a little relief. You don't need to fight a dozen different battles. Most of what's crowding out the life you truly want traces back to a handful of root causes. One habit, one belief, one arrangement that you never examined. Cut that and the other problems disappear with it. You're not looking for more willpower. You're looking for the few cuts that clear away the most space. That is the work before the questions even start. So here's how you find out what stays. Ask these 3 questions, not a journaling exercise. This is a way of finding out what to protect, to discover what you truly need and love. The first question, what makes your life worth living? What makes this life, your life, desirable instead of a burden? What gets you out of bed when nothing is forcing you to? It's not your job, not your role, not what you're supposed to say. What is it that is strong enough to power you through the hard days, the sadness, the drudgery? Let this one sit with you a while until you have some answers. It's okay if it takes time. Don't rush it. Just be sure you know what it is that keeps you going every day. Second, what would you die for? What would you refuse to betray regardless of the cost? Who or what is so important you would defend it with your very life? Viktor Frankl survived the Holocaust because something mattered to him more than survival. That thing or things, whatever they are for you, are your core values. And this is the spine of a meaningful life. Lastly, what does your dream like actually feel like? If obligation and other people's expectations just vanished, what would you be doing? What does this life of freedom feel like? If all the choices were yours, total control over your situation, what would you create? Who are the people around the table? What is the work that your hands would be doing? What pleasures fill those days? What sensual joys would you indulge? If you could fulfill any and all of your desires, what are they? Tonight, sit down with a piece of paper and ask yourself these 3 questions. There are no right or wrong answers. It's just your life, the way it was meant to be. Just write what's true. Now, look around you at your current life. What surrounds you that you already know you need to cut? Start to get rid of the stuff that conflicts with this new, better, more delightful life, and begin focusing on what you really want. This is where creating a great life begins.